अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
Today we are supposed to take care of some questions which were asked yesterday.
You have to come alone. Then I close all the windows and doors, draw the curtains, put on a dim blue light, play lovely music so that you are easily hypnotized. And then I whisper something to you or give you a mantra in your ear. One of the images one has about initiation. But you should look at the word initiation first. What does it mean? Initiation is derived from the word to initiate a process or initiate a connection or initiate a certain action or initiate a certain way of life. Begin. What is the meaning of initiate? To start. We have a plan. We say, when do we initiate? The plan. How do we get it going? Right? So the real meaning of the word initiation is to show direction. It could be like if it is a war plan which you don't want Pakistan to know or the enemy to know, then you have to do it closed doors to initiate the process. Suppose it is an economic thing which you can let others know. Nowadays the RBI is reluctant about that, but generally. Then we can do it in the open. Initiate the process. So initiation means somebody who has some idea or knowledge about something is working out a plan to begin to initiate the process of the other person understanding it through a certain technique or process or method. This is the real meaning of initiation. So therefore, you need not necessarily have a stereotyped definition of initiation. Different teachers have initiated people in different ways. Now, personally, I think that each individual needs a different kind of initiation. But it is not possible to do that because there are so many people who need to ask questions, move forward. So you can't get one individual and try to start, because I feel that it may be quite different in different individuals. How they accept it, how they absorb it, what is their background by which they will understand it, may be different. Right? So therefore, I'll give you one example. There is a great Avaduta called Nityananda. He lived in Vajreshwari. He had many close people who were close to him. People who claimed they were close to him. I don't think he was close to anybody. Avadutas are not close to anybody. They are close to all, or they are close to none. But many people claim to be close to him. And two examples. One of them said that he initiated a change in his consciousness, the Guru, the teacher, Nityananda, by looking at him, his eyes. One story. I'm not saying story in the sense of fiction, but one of the stories. Now, with this man, so many other people lived. Nobody has reported any such thing. Either this guy imagined it or it was specially meant for him. There are only two explanations. Now, there was a flower seller at that time, Mr. Prabhu, who lived in Ganeshpuri with Nityananda all his life, made flowers and garlands for the temple, slept with him all his life. He died a flower seller, he didn't become a yogi. While the other guy, who said he got it from him through the eyes, became a yogi. So, two explanations. Either Nityananda did not see the other guy ready, or he had different ways of dealing with different people, different ways of initiation, or the flower seller had to go many more lives before coming to this. So, what I am trying to convey is don't expect a uniform technique of what is called initiation. Sometimes many things are learned simply by walking with a spiritual teacher, even having a cup of tea and talking about things unconnected with spiritual life. What is required truly if you consider initiation as passing of something, understanding or energy from one person to another, the basic requirement is his mind and the teacher's mind, or her mind and the teacher's mind should be having the same frequency. If the same frequency develops, then certain ideas are transferred even without words. Okay? Now, if you are depending on the words may act as a barrier to that kind of transference. Also possible. So, and there is no guarantee, since we are on the spiritual subject, that a person like Mr. Prabhu, who was a flower seller, who lived all his life with Nityananda, need have transferred something. There is no guarantee. He is not ready for it, he is not ready to give it. Could be many reasons. In this context, I should tell you a very funny story. It's not funny. When I first met J. Krishnamurti here in Vasant Vihar for the first time and spent about 30 minutes one-to-one. Told me something very interesting. He said, you will find many people here who will come to you and say, I have lived with Krishna ji. He imitated the tone, how they talk. Krishna ji, he said, that we have lived with Krishna ji for 35 years. Then he turned to me and said, don't believe a word, they know nothing. He also said, if somebody has seriously listened to me once, why are they coming back? They should understand what is being said. If somebody keeps coming back 24 years, every time, nothing has happened. Here, understand, get out. So there are different angles to what is called initiation. However, if by initiation you mean a mantra, how to initiate a person. Now the difficulty is, one mantra may not suit everybody. Unfortunately, in this present consumer world, one mantra only can be given. Otherwise, how so many people can take different mantras? I can't, not me. The teacher can't catch her and ask, hey, what is your Ishta Devata? You can catch somebody else, what do you believe in? And give mantras separately, it doesn't work. So one mantra is used. Does it work? Well, it works if you have some faith in it. I'm elaborately looking into what you said. Now there is a mantra like the Gayatri. When a child is small, the Gayatri Mantra is initiated. Please note, the child is small. The mind is sensitive and open. It has not stratified itself into any stone armor around it. Then the mantra is given. In the olden days, nobody looked for a guru to get the Gayatri. The father gave it to the son. Right? Because the father knew. What does it imply? Why are we looking for gurus now? Because the parents don't know. So the poor child is lost with some stupid fellow, like me. So, the most important thing is, the Gayatri is one mantra, which I think, if chanted properly, not only the meaning but also the sound, has a certain effect in spiritually generating a certain energy. And when it is initiated, it means that sit quietly, chant the mantra in its proper form, and ask the other person to chant. Another form of initiation. There is another form of initiation where a teacher may pass on something to you by giving you a very good slap. This is also possible in some cases. Good slap. I know a case of somebody who went to a great teacher and with great hope. As soon as he approached him, he said, "Get out! This I have come with so much." Then he gave him one kick on his butt, so he fell on the sand. He said, "This is enough, there are no more teachers, disciples. This is too new for me. I don't understand this." He went away. Somebody asked the teacher, "What is this?" He has gone away. He said, "It is his loss, he will come back." So what I am trying to say is, don't standardize initiation and say only this is initiation. There are different ways of initiating, and depending on the person, the situation, conditions, one is made to walk on the path. That is called initiation. Walking on the path. Showing the way to initiate the proceedings. It could be accompanied by a mantra, it could be accompanied by no mantra, it could happen simply by talking to somebody, it could happen when you are walking on the beach and looking at the sea, it can happen at any time, but the mind has to be open. Now the mind has to be open, it's not with the teacher, it's with the student. The student's mind is open and sensitive. Then you never know when the instructions are going to come. Always be ready and open for it. Now, after I have said this, have you an elaboration on that question? Anybody has a microphone? It doesn't need to allow. After hearing me now, there might be something connected to it which has come up.
Sir, I just read in the first class to Ramakrishna. Somebody asked the Ramakrishna to initiate them. Because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has told them that I am not for initiation. I won't initiate. I am a child of God only. I am a child of Kali Mata. I won't initiate. Child of. And he says that if I initiate somebody, I have to take responsibility of the person. So this is the implication of the initiator,
That's why people are afraid of initiating. That's why people are reluctant about it. I'm not talking about the modern day initiations, $3,000. 3,000 people initiated together at once. True initiation means to take responsibility of someone. And that has to be done with a great deal of understanding. It's not a joke. Because you actually take that person's responsibility on your head. Okay? So if you have done it, until that person crosses across the bridge, you can't let go of that person. Which is why he hesitated. His way of saying, I am only a bhakta, he was a humble man. So this is his way of expression. In fact, very few people, except in the later part of his life, even knew that Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a great saint. Even Mahendranath Gupta, the other M, who wrote the Gospel of Ramakrishna, when he met him for the first time, did not know that he was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. In fact, he asked him, is there a Paramahamsa living here near Dakshineshwar garden? He said, could be, I don't know. You sit down, let's talk. So, see that? Now that comes from a heart which has understood things properly. So, what I'm saying, if you see too many mass initiations, run away, go have a picnic on the sea, it is better. It's better to have no guru than the wrong guru. You're free. Now, there was a young lady sitting here yesterday. Where is she gone? Oh, yeah. I got your question.
Sir, please, I have had something.
Afterwards. So, she gave me two examples which she quoted from my own talks in YouTube. I'm glad you're listening to YouTube. It's actually not my tube but YouTube. The first question was that I love to repeat the story of the learned professor who went to the Zen master, who poured the tea and it overflowed, and the master said, how can I give you Zen because your cup is overflowing? One story. And the other story is how Kavyaganta Ganapati Shastrikal, the learned man and sadhak addition, went to see Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramana Maharshi, and it's interesting. Now please listen to the story carefully. I'll come to the professor later. Kavyaganta Ganapati Shastrikal was not just a scholar. He was not just a scholar. In the process, also coming from a prominent ancient family which had the Shastras running in their blood, he was aware of it even when he was this high, much of the knowledge which he studied. Apart from the fact, he studied not for studying and thinking that I know everything, but he studied with the sole intention of finding a practical way of finding the truth. That is the difference. Therefore, he was a sincere seeker apart from being a scholar. That sincere seeker point is more important than even the scholarship. What his problem, his dilemma was, even after having done all this, I still have a barrier that is separating me from him. He didn't ask for nirvana or anything. He said, I have done this much. I have done Vedanta, I have done Bhakti literature, I have done Sri Vidya, I have done everything that usually people not only study but practice also as a sadhana. And having done all that, there seems to be still a barrier. What is this barrier that is separating me from it? Which means what? That there is a barrier means he could feel some things, but he was not satisfied with that. That's the definition of Ganapati Shastrikal, which is quite different from the scholar who is a professor who has studied a lot but has no practical understanding of what's going on. Okay? Now, and then when he went to Ramana Maharshi, what happened? You must understand this. 1 hour or more he sat in front of him, even though the Maharshi ignored him totally. I mean, Maharshi did not deliberately ignore him. He was looking out and he was drunk. So when he finally came back and saw this guy sitting in front of him, he did this, which means what? So he told all that he did, he was waiting for somebody to say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done. So the thing is, another thing to notice is, in spite of doing all the sadhana, in spite of studying a lot, what was prominent in his mind was, I have done this, I have studied this, So Maharshi responded by saying, Koncha neram summa irakam. Can you shut up for a while? Which means, can that I keep quiet? Then it is done. So can you see the difference between the learned professor and Ganapati Shastrikal? Learned professor had a long way to go. Ganapati Shastrikal was waiting for that break. There's a difference. Got it? Okay, so something else you had. No, you said I thought about it.
When we say for the second exam, Dharma doesn't lead you to the end. You need a guru or you need to erase the ego. Okay.
No.
So is it a perfect example of?
No. And Ramana Maharshi did not have a guru himself. So I don't agree that you need.
But ego is the barrier in both cases.
In both cases, no. That ego is different from this ego.
But this second case is subtle ego. In the second case, it is more subtle.
Subtle or hard, it is ego. But it is not even ego. See, when you say ego, we make too much of that word. No human being can live without an ego. If somebody comes to you and say, I have no ego at all, don't believe me. It's not possible. Because if somebody really doesn't have an ego, he won't tell you, advertise, I have no ego. You understand what? So it's that ego simply, the word has been acquired a lot of meanings. Ego simply means the feeling that I exist. This is ego. The meaning of Atma, we have worked out many things. Actual meaning of word Atma is I am. Makes sense. So that way everybody has an ego. We are saying, if that ego, you can't break it. How can the ego break itself? Not possible. So we are saying, if we keep the ego purified, the sense without having too much muck inside it, if you can clear it, then perhaps you can see something which is beyond me. That's all I can say. Even people who have attained so-called moksha or nirvikalpa samadhi still have an ego. It may be a shadow of an ego, but it will still be there. Yeah, that you have attained something doesn't mean that you have to say that, well, I have nobody. Somebody who keeps saying, I am nobody, you have to be careful. That nobody has attained the level of somebody. Understand? I know people who start talking by saying, actually I don't know anything, but you know, then 1 hour you have to listen. So these are very subtle things. You have to watch carefully. Okay?
Only last one I think so still we say that Jnana Marg is a path.
Huh?
Jnana Marg, Jnana Yoga is still a path.
Is what?
Is still a path. It's the way.
I didn't say that.
No. But in Gita it is there.
No. Gita also says Bhakti is a marga, Jnana is a marga,
Yes, it is one.
Yoga is a marga, Karma is, there are many.
Does it imply that Bhakti, after Jnana Yoga you have to start with Bhakti?
I think you have to forget these terms. Now you have become like the professor who went to the Zen master. Get rid of the terms. Yeah? Then there was a third question about Viveka Chodamani. I would like to know what exactly you were referring to.
So first slogan number 2.
Not invocation.
So next one.
Prostrate.
Next to that, for all human beings,
Sarva Vedanta Siddha.
For all human beings, human birth is difficult to obtain. That second slogan.
Oh, okay. Jantu Nam Narajanma. That one. Jantu Nam Narajanma Durlabham. It is hard for any living creature to achieve birth in a human form. Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. Strength of body and will are even harder to obtain. First of all, it's difficult to be conscious. If you are not looking for freedom, what Shankara is implying, you are wasting this hard-earned human life. If you are a human being itself is not easy. We think we take it for granted. So even then, what Shankara is saying, okay, it's not easy to attain. And that too, after having a human form, if you have strength of body and strength of mind, these are even harder because there are many human beings who don't have strength, who are sick. You can't expect a sick person to sit and meditate. But suppose you have a human body and you are also healthy. Not only physically, but your mind is also healthy. And also that purity is even harder to obtain. Purity of mind. And even harder than that is the desire to live a spiritual life. And an understanding of the scripture is the hardest of all. As for discrimination between Atman and non-Atman, and direct perception of the Atman itself, and final liberation, this cannot be obtained except through the merits of 100 billion well-lived lives. I don't see any contradiction in this sloka.
So male is there, male and female. Second, first is human body, second is...
Yeah, because in those days only males went out and took sannyas. We are talking about the times of Adi Shankara, not about the present. If Adi Shankara was around now, he would have said, it's so hard to obtain human life, especially a female life. The mathas will not agree, of course, what I am saying. So we are talking about early times when women did not have the opportunity to go into this. So it's not a general bias or a gender bias. Now gender bias, if you come to gender bias, till 1,000 years ago the gender bias was very much there, 800 years. After that slowly it started to change. But you should also remember that in the history of Indian spiritual teachers, there have been very many rishis who were also women. There was Yajnavalkya's wife Maitri who said, I am coming with you if you are going to the forest. And the teaching of the Brihadaranyaka, partly his teaching Maitri. So I think the gender bias developed later and then it remained for a long time. Since we are on the subject of gender bias, people think that it is only restricted to the Hindu scriptures. That is not true. Very many years ago, when the great Gautama, the Buddha, attained nirvana, after some time, his wet nurse, an adopted mother, came to see him asking for sannyas. I mean, in the Buddhist terminology, it is not sannyas. They call it setting forth, moving forward. Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Setting forth. That means leaving your house and hearth and moving forward. So she came to the Buddha and said, please make me a... Till then there were no nuns in the Buddhist. It's only monks. The Sangha consisted of only monks. Buddha said, no. I am saying this because some people think it's not there in Buddhism, it's only there in Hinduism. All causes are because of Hinduism. There is a theory like that. I don't know why. Anyway. He said, there is no more gender bias than somebody being able to divorce somebody by saying 3 times, divorce. They're more better, worse than that. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, Buddha said no. Then, Ananda, who was Buddha's close disciple, who was always his close attendant, and who was always also disciple. Something happened again here. Yesterday you touched here, no? Then if I touch, I might get a shock. Hello. Hello. Don't know what he did. So, see, you should know the perfect man knows what to do. Yes, he is the Guru. Yeah. So, Ananda, who was also a disciple, a relative of Buddha, told him, what is this? She is asking for becoming a nun, setting forth. He said no. So she went. Several years later in Vaishali she came again. This time she had herself shaven her head and her legs were heavy of walking, swollen. And she was in a very desperate situation. She came and said, now please set me free, let me go forth. The Buddha said no. So Ananda felt very bad. Ananda said, what is this? She is your wet nurse. She is like your mother. She has looked up. Your mother died as soon as you were born. And now she has become like a nun and she is crying to be set forth. Why are you refusing her? Then the Buddha said, Ananda, if you say so, I ordain her as the first nun. So even the Buddha was very reluctant to do it. There must be social reasons, very many reasons for that. I don't think he had anything against women. So we should think of all this when you blame somebody, you know. But the funny thing is, after a year, he says to Ananda, I think that the Sangha would have lasted. I thought the Sangha would have lasted for 1,000 years, but now it will last only for 500 years. So Ananda said, why? He said, because I have initiated women into the order. What do you say to this? I'm saying this especially because people react against Hinduism and want to become Buddhist. You can become Buddhist, okay, fine, no problem. But don't think that there is no discrimination except here. Because of various social circumstances and various things, there was. But then, what you should understand, that the movement of spiritual and religious practices is such that it evolves over time. After that, there were so many teachers who came, they changed it. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa never discriminated against women, and yet all his 12 main sannyasin disciples were men. And yet he didn't discriminate. He had many women disciples. They didn't become sannyasis at that time. Why? Because it was not the done thing at that point. It would have been very difficult for them. Later on, what's happened? Now there is the Sharada Math, which is an independent body, and it consists only of women. So keep all these things in mind. Don't take one sentence or one word out of context and blame somebody.
I didn't understand.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. Because such a great person with so many couldn't have done it deliberately or erred. There must be something. And my other theory is that however much you may expand spiritually, there I agree with Madhva, you are still little limited. So there may be mistakes. So forgive them and move forward. Look at the good points.
Sir, related thing, the first question that I asked was, sir, ignorance if somebody has taken initiation, like you said, the mass initiation. Medicine, we say that drug-to-drug interaction is there. So similarly, initiation, will it have any effect?
It's okay.
So, thanks.
I'm trying to go to the core of it, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. It's better that somebody keeps chanting and doing something nice instead of wasting time in doing something bad. Some girl brought this question. Who gave this? Whose question? I want to see the culprit. I'm not sorry. Whose questions? They were given to me at the dining hall during breakfast. Why are you shying away from this?
That's a different person, sir. Oh. It came into our hands.
Oh, okay. So that is different. That paper hasn't come to me. I said, please give it to me later. Somebody has written saying, some friends keep attending 2 or 3 gurus simultaneously. At one time or at different times? What is your advice to them? No advice. You can go wherever you want, attend wherever you want, do whatever you want, there is no problem. But keep yourself alert. Don't fall into any pit. Hold properly. Before you enter there, tie a rope and hold the top so that you don't fall head over heels. That's it. There is no problem. You can go anywhere. But after working for some time, after going here and there for some time, after Brahma Vidya and Vishnu Vidya and Ganesh Vidya and all that, choose and then try to stick to some one thing and do it to the end. Don't scatter your mind here. Okay? That's my advice. The second question is, significance of Gurumantra. Will it alone uplift one to divinity? Significance of Gurumantra, will it alone uplift one into divinity. If you are very sincere and if your mind is very clear and one-pointed, the Gurumantra may be sufficient to take you up to there. However, rarely do we have such minds. Therefore, when the Gurumantra is given and some other practices are given, one should not get into this ego of I have so much bhakti simply by saying Guru Mantra I can reach there. Practice what has been taught also. However, don't belittle the importance of the Guru Mantra. It's very important. And because it is given in the parampara and it comes from one person to another, it has a certain importance which we should not neglect or reduce their importance. However, you should also practice other things which have been given with the Guru Mantra. If you have that much faith and you feel that this is sufficient, then probably you will spend more and more time doing it than simply do it like a prescription for about 10 minutes every day, Guru Mantra. That's sufficient for me. That doesn't work. You need to put your attention.
Namaste. Yesterday I had asked a question about we read a number of books, we listen to lectures, but put into practice what is the sadhana that we have to start so that our sensory attachments fall away one by one.
Today you learned some sadhana, right? So start practicing. See, it's nice to read. It's important to gather knowledge from all sides, especially knowledge regarding the spiritual journey. But it simply remains second-hand knowledge as long as you have no personal experience, anubhava. Right? So for anubhava, you need to have a practice. Please sit down. I'll give you an example from the Gita itself. Now what is the end portion of every chapter of the Gita? How is it mentioned? What is Gita according to the Gita? End chapter? Every chapter. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this is the Bhagavad Gita. Upanishatsu, which is the knowledge of the Upanishad, which is what? Jnanamarga, this young lady of Jnanamarga. Upanishatsu. And what is Upanishad? Brahma Vidyayam. Brahma Vidya is not breathing up and down, okay? Brahma Vidya is understanding the Brahman. So, Brahma Vidyayam. So it is the knowledge of the Upanishad whose content is Brahma Vidya, Supreme Truth. Then what is the next sentence? Yoga Shastre. So why Yoga Shastra when you are already there Brahma Vidya? Because everybody cannot understand Brahma Vidya simply by saying Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Can you say Aham Brahmasmi and go and stand in front of a speeding train? Can you? If you can, then your Brahma Vidya is stable. So you can say Brahma Vidya, you can say Supreme Brahman, I am Atma Brahma, but practically you cannot. I am sitting down, I have a cup of tea, I am going to drink tea, and I am saying 2 minutes, Aham Brahma. Somebody snatches it, hey, give me back my tea. So which is the Brahman? So, while theoretically the Upanishads and the other scriptures might explain Brahma Vidya, to understand and actually experience Anubhava Brahma Vidya, you need to make changes in your mind and body and your senses. For that, a practice is required, and that practice is called Yoga Shastra. It can be any yoga, any practice. Now wait a minute, when you say Yoga Shastra, it could be Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. But it is required. Simply by saying, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jagat doesn't become Mithya. It is very real. Even I am sitting here and talking to you is very real. Do you think it is Mithya? Then what is the point of sitting here? What is the point of my talking to you? It's not Mithya. That Mithya terminology comes only when you have understood the truth. Till then it is required to open the brain, to open the mind, to perceptions and dimensions, and for that a practice is required. That is Yoga Shastra. I am not saying the only Kriya which I thought should be practiced, but there should be practice. And essence of practice is that you should be able to sit with your mind undistracted by outward things, one-pointedly fixed on the object of your meditation. That's all. That much is there, it's okay. I told you today when we talked about Kriya at the beginning itself, that I don't believe Kriya is the only way to salvation. I told you, Mirabai did not do any Kriya. Ramana Maharshi did not do any Kriya. Can you say they didn't attain? Can't. It is my parampara, it's good for you. I have practiced, I have found it good, so I am teaching. So a technique is required. Basic meaning of a technique is where you can sit every day and free your mind of distractions, gather the energies which are normally dissipated and fix them on one. That's all that is required. That is but required. Otherwise, how many more books you read, whatever you read, it is not going to bring about an actual change. And if the actual change is happening, then these can be discarded.
The dreams, how are they important? If we give some instructions, how important should we give?
Instructions in what way?
The sequence which unfolds in the dream, and then we start seeing that this is actually happening. And then in the same sequence we see that now, suppose I am getting a mantra or I am meeting someone. So, should we take that so seriously that we start planning our life?
No, you should not. Then you might end up in real trouble.
So to what extent we should give importance to such dreams?
Consider them as dreams and distinguish them from wakefulness, and depend more on the wakeful state than on the dream state. Unless it's a very special dream which you feel is so special, which is so real that when you wake up the effects of the dream are still inside you and you feel it in the outside world, then it's, but what happens with this is generally we confuse all dreams and begin to follow dream instructions until we end up in great trouble. So it's better to avoid, simply because dreams are not under our control. They happen. The waking life is under our control, so we can do what we want, as we want. Of course, there are failures, no question. But as far as possible, I think already when this is a dream, why would you dream of a dream within a dream? I mean, let me put it this way. When you have a dream, do you think that it is real while you are dreaming? Yes. While you are dreaming, it's not a dream, no? Is it? It is real. When you wake up, it is a dream, right? You wake up, you say, I had it good or bad or instructive or non-instructive, doesn't matter. But when I wake up, I say, I had a dream. But when I am actually dreaming, it is real. It is not a dream. Okay? Now we are all sitting here and I am saying this is very real because I have not woken up from another dream. What if I one day stretch my hands and yawn? Oh, wow, what a long dream that was. But I can't say it now because I am dreaming. You get what I am trying to say? So, while living in this world, try to give more importance to what is now in the waking state than what is in a dream. The other difference between dream and waking state. In dream, there is no continuity. In the dream, one day I am a beggar, another day I am a king. But when I wake up, I am still working in the RBI. Every day, after any dream. So there is more continuity in the waking state than the dream state. That is one major difference between waking and dreaming, that there is a continuity. So, the continuity is the witness that links the dreams together. That is the continuity. So go and depend more on the witness than on the dream. And also on this. The witness is more important. Don't even think what is going to happen to nothing happens to the witness. It enjoys the drama. It is a spectator sitting and looking at the drama. Many things are going on. But your true identity is that you are the witness, the watcher of the whole drama that's going on. In your heart, there sits the Lord of the drama, Ranganatha. This is the Ranga, big Ranga Vilasa. In that sits the Nath, watching everything in peace. That is your true identity. So try to go towards that rather than getting too caught up in dreams. Huh? Now this is a very, very long list which was brought to me at breakfast and it is still here. Yours, sir? You know how many questions there are? I'm trying to get some sympathy from you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First question, how to deal with distraction? Good question. Second question, in the calming of mind, in calming of mind only necessary or Kundalini awakening is also necessary. 3. What do you do with the heat getting generated in Gayatri Mantra chanting? Does it get generated? 4. Nama Japa Gayatri Kriya sequence and time. 5. At the time of death, if you think about God, will the yogi get moksha? 6. As a wife, should I cook? Sorry, I didn't elaborate. As a wife, should I cook non-veg even if I am a veg myself and believe in non-violence? Questions are all actually quite good. So let me start with how to deal with distraction. Suppose you are seriously interested in music, suppose, and you are listening or playing music. Do you feel distracted? No. Suppose you are really interested in a love story going on the TV. Do you get distracted? No. When you are, suppose you are a painter and you are painting a picture, complete attention, do you feel distracted? You are a dancer and you are dancing on the stage, and from the side of the eye you see people on the stage sitting and watching you who are known to you. Do you get distracted? No. Why? Because you are completely interested in what you are doing. So, when meditation becomes really interesting, then there is no distraction. If it becomes like a daily chore, I am doing this chore, like sweeping the floor, then there is a distraction. But there have been great saints who have even done sweeping the floor without any distraction. So, in any act that you take up in daily life, if you can put your complete attention to what you are doing, that means it must be interesting to you. So slowly you must eliminate things which don't interest you. Take up things which you are really seriously interested, not non-vegetarian cooking and so on, but I mean seriously. When you start getting interested, then you will see there is no distraction. Now, day-to-day life, if you can practice this, then when you sit for meditation also, there will be no distraction. Otherwise, you can't expect 15 minutes of no distraction when all your life in the day you are distracted. How can the mind switch? So, in daily life, you should practice this. Then it is possible for you to meditate without distraction. I think that is the intention of the question. So calming of mind only necessary or Kundalini awakening. I would tell you, please don't worry about this Kundalini lady. She's bad. Stay away. Just calm your mind. And if it has to happen, it will happen. Like they say in Tanjavur, what things when will happen, that thing then will happen, happen. But just calm your mind. Because this is dangerous. Some people, I know many people who come to me, also youngsters, say we went and did this, we went and did that. The Kundalini has awakened, now we are in trouble, body is generating heat, I am feeling what to do. I said, go back to the guy who told you to do and ask him, because I can't help you. So stay away, just keep your mind calm. Anand and his vibrations. Then, this question of what to do with the heat getting generated in Gayatri, does it really feel uncomfortable for you?
Sometimes it's really uncomfortable. Sometimes the heat is getting so much generated that I can actually feel everything getting burned out also.
Simply by chanting the Gayatri.
Only chanting.
Now, on one side it proves that Gayatri is certainly a powerful thing, mantra. Yeah. That's a good news. That one is aware of that. The other is, I can give you a practical suggestion, but don't stop Gayatri because of that. Okay? The practical suggestion is, the Ida Nadi, which is on the left, is the cooling Nadi. It is a Nadi of the moon. Moon is a symbol. And the Pingala Nadi, which is the right Nadi, is a Nadi of heat. Sun is the symbol. Surya Nadi and Chandra Nadi. So I think in your case, most of the time your Surya Nadi is working over time. So my suggestion is, when you sleep, always sleep on your right side instead of on your left. Sleep on your right side. And whenever you feel too much heat, shut your right nostril and try to breathe for 5-10 minutes only through the left. And this is a practical thing. And then when you breathe in, visualize you are taking in cool moonlight through the breath and exhaling. And then try this out for about 2 weeks. And then let me know if things are changed.
Sure.
Otherwise we can slap or do something. Nama Japa Gayatri Kriya. Now when you include Gayatri Japa also in Nama Japa, don't change it. It's not too different.
And there was one more question. In Nama Japa you just told that not all the Nama Japas are suitable for everyone.
But Gayatri is.
Gayatri is, right? For example, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, I feel very comfortable chanting that.
Then do that.
So, and in one of the discourse you said, which I was watching,
this is all my fault. What is it?
That you should be chanting only one mantra.
No, you got me wrong there. If you are comfortable with chanting several mantras, please do. But if you want to get the particular effect of a one mantra, then you need to chant only one mantra. But you can chant other mantras, there is no harm. I think your major mantra is Gayatri. So fine. So stick to that as much as... Right. Stick to that. Don't let any men discourage you from doing it. Say that women are also allowed. Let's have a women for Gayatri. And so stay with that. Now the very important question, not the non-veg, at the time of death, if you think about God, will the yogi get moksha? Yes, that is true.
Sorry for asking so many questions.
Tell them.
It's actually on behalf of my friends also who couldn't make it to the retreat. So, and also my question attached to it, it's not about moksha is a very big thing, okay? I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just thinking if there is a next birth or whatever it is, if there is, any other account, so will it improve, that way? I don't know even during the daytime to be in that state or not.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, let me answer it, let me look at it carefully. So useful for all. This is a wonderful question. Who knows when we'll die? Yesterday you heard Kabir Bhajan, nobody knows when it comes. And before you know it, you're gone. So shouldn't we be ready always? Now the thing is, you cannot make your mind think of God only when you're dying. Not possible. Your mind will think of what it has been thinking while you're living. Right? So therefore, cultivate the thought in daily life so that at that point also it occurs to you. You can't think, when it happens, then I will think and then I will get moksha. It doesn't work that way. If your mind is on that, then when you are about to die, it will occur automatically to you. Otherwise, whatever you have been thinking of, that will come. That is the nature of the mind. You know the story of the oil monger, no? There was an oil monger who thought that when I am about to die, I will think of God. Now why should I waste time? So, he was also a great miser. So when he thought he was going to die, all doctors declared no chance, now you're going. So those days there was no electricity. So there was an oil lamp with a wick burning. So he was meditating on Narayana and suddenly he looked. That wick was a little too long and it was consuming too much oil. That is what he is always thinking, no? You can't suddenly shift to Narayana. So he told his son, hey, pull that wick in, you're wasting oil. So next birth also he became an oil monger. I mean, it's just a story, but illustrates. So if you keep this alert in your mind, that ultimately some freedom is coming to me with this body goes, then I should think of that freedom. It need not even be God. Concept. Then when you're about to die, there will be no agitation. Okay. Now, one of the ways to train the mind this way, practical, is to die to things which you really want to have. What is death after all? See, if in death somebody guarantees that when you die, you can take your Mercedes with you, or you can take your wife with you, you can take your... Who is afraid of death? The fear is not of death, the fear is of leaving all that is dear to you and going away. So try voluntarily to leave something and see how it feels, how this death feels. It's like death actually. So if you have lived many of these mini deaths, then when that big death comes, I know one brave lady who can face. You see the concept. All that you have near and dear can go at any time. I'm not saying you should kick it off. It can. Keep this in mind. So that when that comes, you say, I knew that this will happen, so I'm going by. Okay? Then last question, is your husband here? Then I will not answer this question. As a wife, should I cook non-veg? Even if I am a veg myself. You gave it to me, so I am reading in public. And believe in non-violence. I personally think that if you really seriously believe in non-violence, you should stick to your vegetarian food. But if he seriously believes in non-veg, you should cook for him. Otherwise, life may become very difficult. If you are ready to suffer the consequences, stop cooking. Now, I can't give you any other. Practically speaking, if you think you should be happy in the household, then because what will happen nowadays, you don't need to cook. If you stop cooking, there's something on the email, something. It will be delivered at the door. Squeaky, something, I don't know. So it will be delivered. So even then, if you are a veg, you don't want him to be. It's better that he eats good food which you make rather than get some silly stuff from outside and eat. So, as a concern for your husband, I can't.
Prana and breath.
Pranayam.
Prana and breath. What is prana and breath? Because in meditation we are watching the breath going in and out, up and down. And when breath goes, we go. But generally we say prana for life. So,
are they different or are they the same? Okay. Now, when you say breath of life, then it is prana. When you simply say breath, then it is your swasa. So there is another word for this breathing, that is swasa, as different from prana. However, the important thing is, the interesting thing is, that which is closely linked to prana. Prana means the life energy that is in us. If the breath can stop, but you can still be alive if the prana is inside. Yes. Yogis can do that. So therefore there is a distinction between prana and swasa. However, the bodily function that is closest linked to prana is swasa, is breath. So, to control the prana, you can control it through controlling the breath. But they are not the same. They are two. However, they are the closest to each other. So, when you say pranayama, it means the rules and regulations of prana, not just swasa. However, as a practical thing, we cannot touch prana, we can only touch the breath. And through manipulating the breath, it is possible for you to manipulate prana. However, please remember that even if your breath goes and you are not breathing, prana can still, in many cases, survive in the body and the body is not dead. It can revive the breathing at any point. The prana is still there. I will give you an example of a yogi. You all must have heard of Shyamacharan Lahiri of Banaras, famous name, Lahiri Mahashaya. So, one of the very close friends of Lahiri Mahashaya's son became a doctor in those days. So, he was supposed to, when he became a doctor, before he started his practice, his father told him, go to Banaras and take blessings from my friend Shyamacharan, who lives there. He's a great yogi, so you should take his blessings. So he went there as a young man, and after that he was going to join his hospital. So he was carrying all his bag, doctor's bag, and he went there. So he went and introduced himself to Lahiri Mahashaya. I am your friend's Karuna's son. I have come here. I have become a doctor. He said, there is 1 minute. So tell me, what are the signs of death when the human body dies? He thought, strange question. I came for blessings anyway. So he said, signs of death means the pulse will completely stop, the breath will stop. After some time, the solar plexus will also cool down. Then there is no sign of life. It is death. No heartbeat, no pulse. I said, is that so? Then, did you bring your stats, whatever things? He said, yes. Okay, put them on. Put them on. Okay, he said, now just relax. And he sat down, took a deep breath and stopped. He waited for some time. After 5 minutes he thought, what is this now? He is not breathing. So he started checking him with the steps. No heartbeat, no pulse. After some time the body is completely cold. There is no heat here, there is no heat here. 10 minutes, he said, this is too much. You got 10 minutes, you are dead. Nothing happens after this. So he started shouting, hey, this man is dead. So all the family came running, what are you making such a big racket about? He said, this man, he said, no, he goes like this and comes back. You keep quiet. It's quite matter of fact, here there is nothing. Every now and then he is like this, then he will start breathing, you relax. So after some time he came back and then he said, your medical science has to study much more, he said, about that. So do some experiments, research. So, without the breath, there is prana. When prana goes, very much. Bhavani, don't ask me to do that now.
Connected, sir, maybe.
One question.
How do we ascertain that you are making spiritual progress in one's life over the course of life?
How is that? Tell me that.
How do we ascertain that you are making spiritual progress in one's life over the course of entire life? How do we ascertain?
What is the meaning of over the course of
I
entire?
have got many chapters ups and downs. Are we making a progress spiritually?
If you can remain calm and quiet, undisturbed and tranquil during all the chapters, when the mind remains quiet and undisturbed and tranquil, then we are progress. Then we are walking. Because chapters you can't stop, right? You're right, there are many chapters. So through that can we sail forth in peace and tranquility. Then we are moving. Yeah, Bhavani was saying something.
Sir, if Lahiri Mahashaya could minus all the effects of life in the body, will we have control on this prana to go away and to bring it back?
Yes. No. He can keep the prana without movement inside his body for a length of time. But nobody can survive like that beyond 3 days. Maximum is 3 days. After that, either you leave the body. If in the case of that happening, if somebody burns the body, as it happened in the case of Tirumula was a disciple of Agastya. He is the author of the famous Gurumantra. So when he was coming from the north, he came to the south and he saw that a shepherd had died. His body was there. Shepherd is called a Mula. A shepherd had died, the body was there, and the poor goats were looking very sad. They loved him. They were sad and shedding tears and hanging around. I don't know whether they're really shedding, but so Tirumula felt very bad. So his name was something else before. So he saw this body's prana had left. 3 days had passed, which means there's no chance of getting back. So he entered the body. Not easy. It's not like taking off your shirt and wearing a shirt, but anyway, difficult. So he entered the body because he knew what to do, let's say, and went home with the goats. Goats were very happy. But the wife was shocked. This farmer, this goat herd of her who took the goats out has come back, and whenever he's talking, he's spouting Tamil poetry. She said, what is this now? How can this man speak poetry? So, no, it was a mystery to her. So all that he noted down at that point is today available to us as Gurumantra. You can't read Tamil. There is a beautiful translation by Swami Tapasyananda available in the Ramakrishna Mission of the Gurumantra. Beautiful, a very elaborate book on yoga, practice, kriya, meditation, pranayama. How to leave the body. When you are leaving, how to think of that. How to fix your attention in the Ajna Chakra and breathe your last and so on. So, when he, after 3 days, after 2 days, he felt very uncomfortable taking everybody for a ride in another body. So he came back with the goats and searched for the body of the shepherd. Searched for his body, which he had hidden in the hollow of a tree. Now some villagers who came and found a dead body there, then they burnt it. So he couldn't go back. So he lived all his life as Tirumula. So be careful. Coming back, Ganesh.
Sir, I have these 2 questions. One is related to the explanation of the initiation that you have given. Information can be transferred even without words.
In rare cases.
Yeah, how can one differentiate that it is from the master or from one's own ego?
From the master.
No, how can one differentiate that? Like a layman like us, how can we differentiate that? It is from the master or it is from my own ego? How can I differentiate that?
You should know if it is coming from the master. Suppose you went to sleep today, and before going to sleep, your master transferred something. Let us say, I am very careful about this because nowadays this thing called Shaktipat has also become very commercial. Everybody is giving Shaktipat. So, suppose. And then in the morning you wake up and your first thing you say, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate. Everybody is wondering what is she saying. If you don't know it, where would it have come from? From the Master.
And the second question is, how can we practice attachment in detachment?
Attachment?
In detachment. Either we are attached or we are detached.
We can't do both. I think we can only do one. How can we be attached to detachment or detached?
How can we practice attachment in detachment? Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has quoted in one place, you should live like, your life should be like water on the lotus leaves.
How is what? You have to practice. There is no how, there is no technique. If you want to live, it's not easy, mind you. Because you are surrounded by so many temptations in this world. So it's very easy to say, like the lotus living on the pond, growing from muck, but not allowing water to fall. It's very easy to say, but it is not easy to practice. And there is no shortcut or technique for this. You have to live this way. It's a practice. It's not a technique, you understand? So when you live in this world, while you wear clothes, if you don't wear also it is okay. If you wear clothes and you eat food and you drink water, you have your family, you talk to them, deep down in your mind is in the center, then it is not affected by it. But on the surface, it looks like you're doing everything. But generally, it will not induce you to do anything that is harmful to others. That is the way of it. Ganesh, before anybody can... Oh, somebody.
In the talks earlier, you mentioned the Kamasika to Rajasika, the Guna and Yuri. So how do you, if I know 80% Kamasika right now, how do I move? What is the technique? To move to say Rajasika?
Yeah, okay. So you're talking about some talk or from YouTube or what?
In Bangalore to the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. So the question is, we have discussed the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamoguna. She feels that 70% I am in tamoguna and I need to move into sattva. What is the way to do it? Now the problem is, sometimes sattva appears so much like tamoguna. Suppose one is lazy and doesn't want to do anything, one thinks one is in samadhi. Suppose one is too lazy to bring about changes, one thinks, oh, why should we change? I am in sattva, I am like the lotus, nothing for it. So very often the tamoguna is misunderstood by people as sattva. So the first step is to realize this, that tamoguna is coming in the form of sattva. People say, oh, sattva means complete peace and tranquility, no agitation. Imagine a police officer thinking like that when a strike is going on. I am in sattva guna. Absolutely. What will happen to the strike? So, one should be able to distinguish between these states by seeing that very often it is lethargy, inertia that is misunderstood for the upper, higher feelings of tranquility, peace and so on. One understanding, okay, theoretically. Next step. How to wake up from the inertia? It's only through work. Work means not that you should go and dig. Work means some activity. So their activity is Rajoguna. Bad activity becomes tamogun, negative activity, and practical activity, positive activity is rajogun. So you require rajas. So you require activity. So through activity, the mind can be purified and made into sattva. Especially if the activity is not self-centered but is meant for others. If you can perform that kind of activity, start with in a small way, then slowly from the tamoguna you move to the sattva through rajas. So rajas is an important part of activity. The purified, good and positive rajas turns into sattva, and the impure, poisonous, self-centered rajogun becomes tamo. So we should start doing some practical things which will take us out of this lethargy. Otherwise, you can lie in that lethargic state and imagine and do nothing, and think that you are actually meditating. It happens many times, especially among the rich, because everything is available. So what do? Drink and lie down. This is nice. Why I am in that state of Parabrahman. I knew a man, I won't name this person, who used to live in Bangalore. Nobody here, not to worry. And he used to, Sundays he told me that he had satsangs in his house. Because he was very close to the Ramdas ashram in Kavyaganta in some way. So in his house, he said on Sundays there is a satsang. So people come for the satsang. He said all people, he didn't tell me who and what. So one Sunday by mistake I called up his wife. I called him and instead of him, the wife picked up the phone. I said, hey, where is your husband? Satsang. She said, satsang. I said, why is he saying that in such a funny way? All the ladies have come, she said. I said, only ladies? Yeah, only ladies. They've all come. Satsang is going on. His mind is in Brahman. He just had two big, large kegs of beer. So, one has to be careful in this matter. So, to move forward, one needs to do positive action and wake oneself up. And then, because you see, a person in sattva guna may be fully active all the time and yet not get caught up. Not that he is inactive. That is the essence of the teaching of the Gita. That is where the Karma Yoga chapter becomes so important. Krishna said, inactivity is not a state of physical inactivity. Inactivity in its profoundest states is a calm mind. And for inducing a calm mind, very often activity is required. Oh, you got the mic on it.
This is a follow-up to the question you spoke about the molar. So, how is the consciousness different from the prana? And then when you say that you are able to move consciousness to another person, are you also moving all the memories and everything associated with it? So, what is the difference?
This is a very technical question, but let me tell you this, that since you said for you it's a theoretical question, so I am going to give you a very theoretical answer on it. Imagine that there is a physical body. There is, you don't have to imagine. What you have to imagine is that there is in the physical body a subtle body called the linga sharira. You can also call it the Shushma Sharira. Now, technically, according to yogis, you need not believe it. The Sushma Sharira is shaped almost like our physical body, but it is made of such matter that it is fitted inside the Sthula. This is the Sthula, physical body. It is fitted into it perfectly. It can, under certain circumstances, voluntary or involuntary, leave the Sthula and come out. And still it is linked to the Sthula Sharira. It is linked to the physical body. It's not completely out. It can come out under different circumstances. Now when it comes out, suppose it has come out, it has almost the same shape as the physical body, but if a man of 70 years, his Sushma Sharira comes out, the Sushma Sharira will be only around 25 years old, but all other features will be there. Everything else is there. It is younger, lighter, brighter than the physical body, but it is connected to the physical body through a small connection. It's not physical, but there is a connection. If that connection is broken, then it cannot come back. If that connection is, as long as it is there, it can also come back. Okay. Now the thing is, you asked about consciousness. If the Sushma Sharira leaves the Sthula or the physical body, sorry, this is a technical question, so I am talking in these terms, leaves, then naturally the consciousness is there, it is not here. It can't be here. So it carries the consciousness, if it carries consciousness, it also carries the memories. Now, visualize that I go to sleep, or others think, suppose that I am sleeping, okay, and my Sushma Sharira has come out, let's say. Then I decide, let me go and see what mischief Ganesh is up to it. Now one good thing about the Sushma is that it can pass through barriers. Physical body cannot go through walls, but this is made of such subtle matter that it can go through walls. Others cannot see it. Unless a yogic vision is there, you can't see it. But you can see. But I can see you. You cannot see me. And then it can therefore see, hear, be conscious, smell also. I can go and come back and say, oh, Ganesh, room is stinking. I don't know what. Or I can say, nice agarbatti is smelling beautiful. Two things can't be done by that. Since you asked me, I don't want to explain. Two things cannot be done. One is taste. You can make the best food there, I cannot taste it. And I cannot touch or carry anything away. You can keep diamond safely, because if I put my hand through, it will go through the diamond. I cannot take it. But I can see, enjoy, I can hear, and I can smell. I am talking about the qualities of not me, but about the subtle body that is out. That time it carries all the consciousness, everything with it. And when the thread is cut due to some reason, it can't come back, then it goes away, carrying the consciousness. Now, in rare cases, sometimes you might be able to see this. Generally not. Yogis can. Personally, when I first did something and experienced, then once you experience it, it is so free and light and wonderful that you won't feel like coming back. Unless you have this great fear, oh, I am dying, I have to go back. What happened? Attachment. Oh, I am leaving everything, then you will come back. But otherwise, if you say, okay, fine, now I am okay, then you feel so light like a butterfly, that when you come back, you will regret at least for the next 10 minutes, why did I come back? It's so heavy, like lead carrying the body. It will take some time for you to, accustom yourself to this heavy clay weight, because you are free flying. So, when I was very young, when I first experienced this, after doing something which Babaji taught me to do, but part of it I have given in my second book. Needs a lot of practice and it needs belief in the system. If you don't believe, it won't work, which is good. Otherwise you will come to my house. So, when I did that, I didn't know that there were any restrictions. So, who do I love the best, the most? At that time, there was nobody there except Babaji. So the first free moment, enjoy, then go straight. Because it's a speed of thought. You think and you're there. So I was there. And Babaji was sitting and talking to a very senior Tibetan monk. Suddenly he turned to me and I thought he won't see me because I have been told that nobody can see you. So suddenly he turned to me and said, who asked you to come here without my permission? So that monk is saying, you asked me to come. It took him some time to realize that he's talking to somebody else. Because he can't see. He said, get out, go back. Never again come to me without my permission. You can't do it. And they know how to draw the line. So, such things do exist. Not so important. Because the subtle body or the Sushma is also only a body. Ultimately you have to transcend it.
So in the case of the guna, you were able to disentangle its connection and put it in another body.
What happened was, beyond 3 days it is normally not possible for this to stay out. You should come back. Now when he went back, it was gone, the connection, so he couldn't go back. In Lahiri Mahashay's case, it was only a question of an hour or a day when he could come and go. But the thing is, you don't have to go into all that unnecessary thing. Not so important really. Since you asked me, I am discussing.
Since you mentioned your second book, in your book you have spoken about this. So is it good to actively try?
Sure you can try. It is not so dangerous as people think. No dog is going to occupy your body, don't worry. You're safe. It's not easy to do that. Chitra, watch out. The thing is that it's actually a wonderful feeling. At least once in life one should try and do it. There's nothing, there's no danger in it. I'm telling you. It's only because of fear that problems come. There is no danger. And the techniques which I have discussed in my second book are very simple, direct techniques which have no danger involved. There are other dangerous techniques which I have avoided mentioning and discussing, which can happen very fast, but they also have the other side. Don't tell me you have to teach me that. You know what? I think we should wind. One more question. 1 hour and 45 minutes I have been sitting here. Now my Sushma Sharira wants to come out.
Namaskaram, sir. So not a technical question, rather very abstract. I hope it makes sense. So what if there is a bhakta who has a deeper, intense connection for no reason to a guru, a deity, without having anything happen in this lifetime for no apparent reason? Is there something like that positive?
Could be some past connections. Could be.
And can the bhakta just follow what he or she feels sure about it?
I thought that was the last question. Huh? We have another session in the evening, so we can ask. Like my prana is half excellent. Huh? So, thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I hope you are having a good satsang. If Anastasia says yes, then it must be true. Are you enjoying? Okay, then let's call it a day.